What's up, everybody? Mike Arce with the GSD show. Welcome back. And today in this episode, I'm here with Ed Cleary of Evolution Nutrition, EN, and we're going to talk about the importance of making sure your clients and your members are measuring nutrition to be able to get the highest results to grow your business.
If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
My name's Mike, and I help fitness studios that are ready to take action, work hard, and grow their studios. In this very saturated industry, there's tons of competition, but the opportunities are incredible. We'll cover the most common challenges in the fitness world and invite guests in the show that have learned to overcome them and share their strategies with you. This is the GSD show. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today, I am here with the president of Evolution Nutrition, Mr. Ed Cleary. Ed, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having us.
Oh man, I couldn't wait to have you on because we actually brought up Evolution Nutrition, or EN, right? That's the new brand now, EN?
Yeah, simple enough.
Simple enough, okay. Yeah, great. So we actually brought you up in episode 7, I believe, with Chris Ronzio. And I know that we've had people using this app and they're loving it. And I felt like I had to know more about it because it seems to be something that was an answer to some people's challenges and issues that they were having with getting over this hump. So I'm going to be asking you some great questions today about nutrition, how to get your clients to measure it, how to use the tools that are available better and more efficiently so that we can keep members. Member retention is an issue in the fitness game, isn't it?
Big one, yeah.
All right, so before we kind of dive in, you've been the president of Evolution Nutrition now for how long?
Just over 5 years.
5 years, and you're no stranger to the entrepreneurial or small business world, right? Tell me about your background before this.
No, so that's funny. We were just talking about this before we got started, right? So I've been owner-operator of my own gigs here for a little over 20 years. So
okay.
I've had some wins and have probably experienced every mistake that you could possibly imagine. But yeah, I've been in everything from advertising and design to software and manufacturing. So I've been fortunate enough to touch a lot of different industries, and I feel like it gives me a good perspective, particularly when we're working with trainers and studio owners that are out there, because I'm sure the things that they're bumping their heads against are things that I've probably run into in the past.
Absolutely. And you know, one of the things as an experienced business owner, not just you, but all the people watching and listening, when you measure things, you're able to achieve them much, much faster, right? Because you're constantly aware of them. And so if you want your sales performance to be better, you don't just kind of wing it every day. It's good to look at your sales numbers, find out exactly how many sales calls you need to make to get contacts, books, shows, all those closes, how many referrals. You know, all these things, the more you measure, the more you improve, or at least the more tools you have to improve. And we're addicted to it already, right? This measures how many steps and how many calories I burn, my heart rate, the car has miles per gallon. I was talking actually Savannah about that yesterday. And I think to achieve any great goal, measuring is a great way to do it. And nutrition is by no means any different, right?
No. You know, we talk about this all the time. If you go to anybody in this space, the health and wellness space, and say, do you think nutrition is important? Everyone will say, yeah, of course it is, right? But there's research out there that quantitates that. So there's studies that have been done that show that the proper combination of exercise and nutrition is up to 400% more effective at taking off and keeping off unwanted pounds than just exercise alone. So there's a difference between just saying nutrition's important and numbers like 400% more important. And that's what was compelling for our founder and the group of us that got in the very beginning of this company, is that we knew that was something that had to be addressed. It wasn't just, hey, nutrition's important. It's this is how important it can be.
Mm-hmm. And numbers not only help you improve, but they also help you move in the first place, right? Like my mother, I don't know about you, but my mother used to get me to not do things by scaring the crap out of me with things like, did you know 3 out of 4 kids that do this, blah, 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 right? And she would get me like with football, she made me scared to play football. Did you know that 96%, and it's all this stuff. But people use numbers in an argument in order to get somebody else to be convinced in something. And so I think what I want to talk about, because I think everybody knows nutrition is important, like you said, but not everyone keeps a food diary, right, and a log. But they want the results. And you had talked to me about a study that you had done or that you had found that really measured the results of keeping a food diary versus not. Do you mind jumping into that?
Yeah, so it's back to anybody who works in this space would know if I can get my client to comply with anything, we're headed in the right direction. There's a story I heard years back where there was this very high-end personal trainer. They had a group setting. There was 20 people there, and they said, I want you all to go home and take your toilet paper. If you're a person that goes toilet paper over the top, I want you to switch it around and have it come out the bottom. If you're an out the bottom person, I want you to switch around and have it come over the top. Everyone laughed, and they sent them on the way and said, we'll talk about this tomorrow. They came back the next day and said, raise your hand if you change your toilet paper. And I can't remember the exact number, somewhere in the neighborhood of half raised their hand. He looked at everybody else and said, you got to leave. I'm not going to work with you. If you couldn't do that one thing, you're not going to do anything else.
Wow.
Funny story, but great anecdote, right?
Yeah.
And food logging works that way too. If you really say, I got to change my eating habits and I want to lose weight, if you're unwilling to actually track what you really eat, you're not going to get any results. And the numbers bear themselves out. The study you're referring to, there was 1,800 men and women, and they asked them to food log over a 6-month period. And the people that actually took the time to write down what they were actually doing lost 50% more weight than the other group of people. And they were, by all other measures, lifestyle and exercise were exactly the same. Food logging was the one difference between those two results.
So if nutrition is something you're serious about learning and implementing for your fitness studio or gym, Ed and his team are giving away their guide, Nutrition Management Made Easy. Go to thegsdshow.com/064 for your free copy. It explains exactly how to talk to your clients about nutrition, the 7 steps to nutritional success, top 10 nutritional myths, and tons more. Again, go to thegsdshow.com/E064 for your copy. Thanks, and back to the episode. Guys, that's the difference between losing 50 pounds and 25 pounds, or 20 pounds and 10 pounds, just by keeping a food log. Not doing anything else, just keeping a food log, which will help you manage your day better. The reason I wanted to share this with everybody listening and watching is because when you're wanting to convince or motivate your clients to use a food diary, don't just tell them to use a food diary. Actually give them these numbers, because now it's more real. If I'm here, there's a reason I'm here, and it's because I want to lose weight or I want to get in shape, whatever the goal might be. But most goals are weight loss, or at least revolved around fat loss. If I'm a member and you tell me to keep a food diary, I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe if it's convenient to my life, I'll whip this thing up, and yeah, maybe I'll do it for a little while. But if you were to say, hey, Mike, just so you know, 50% or the people that actually did it and give me this number lost 50% more weight than the people that didn't. Now I'm more focused. I don't want to be the guy that's not doing it, right? So make sure that you guys are dropping these stats when wanting to convince your clients to do these things. So Ed, for this, are there tips fitness studio owners can use to help their clients max out their weight loss?
Yeah, well, obviously, I can talk about our product a little bit. And first of all, thanks for, you mentioned that you knew people that in your community and kind of sphere of influence were using it, and that's fantastic. We love hearing that. We have just released a brand new, we're calling it EN version 4.0, a complete rebuild of the platform. And it was to address questions, concerns, needs we had from the professional community over these years that we've been working with them. So if we combine a couple of those things and we talk about food logging, it's not something people are unfamiliar with, right? So most people have either written one down or they've grabbed an app and they've logged, right? But the thing that's missing from that is those are primarily calorie counters. So at some point they just tell you to stop eating. And we always say that you could, if that was the theory, you could eat chocolate cake all day long. You just have to stop somewhere before lunch because you're going to be out of calories, right? Mm-hmm. So when we talk about food logging, having someone be aware of what they're eating is great. But at some point, they're going to hit that fence that says, fine, now what? And it's something we're familiar with in this space because none of us would go to a gym and none of us would go to a personal trainer if it was as easy as having a treadmill and some dumbbells in our garage if we were actually willing to use those things all on our own, right? The reason we create these professional relationships with trainers or people that know this space is, first of all, we want to be held accountable. We know that if we're paying and we got to show up at Tuesday at 8, we'll probably get it done. But the other thing, and more importantly a lot of times, is we actually need that professional input. So am I doing this correctly, right? And this is the hole we think we fill really well. This tool is developed so that these calculations are going to be done correctly for you. The recommendations for your clients are going to be done correctly for you. And once you get into that relationship where you've got them to comply, their food logging, the next step is what do they do going forward, right? Mm-hmm. That's where we come in. We're going to help you say, great, this is what you've done in the past. This is what you need to do going forward to reach the goals you told me you want. A lot of times it's going to be weight loss. Sometimes it's lean muscle mass. Sometimes it's performance. There's a lot of those things in there. So when we talk about the professionals that are in this space, this becomes a way to provide substantial value for their clients, right? If we go back to that 90% of the equation is nutrition, it's very simple to say if you're not addressing that, you're not the complete solution your client needs. So by doing that, obviously you're providing value for your client, but you're going to grow your business doing it as well. You know, we say all the time, results for your clients is results for your business.
Mm-hmm. And guys, for those of you that are not implementing this already and you're thinking, okay, cool, this is something I'd like to do, this is something you can charge extra for if it's something you wanted to do as an added value. Now, you can keep it in and just increase the value, but there is a psychology behind upselling that's great for not only you, the business owner, but also for the customer. Studies have shown that people that buy twice from you, two different products, not like a recurring monthly, right? That doesn't count. But people that buy two different things from you are 80% more likely to become a long-term paying member, which would be a 12-month period or longer. So, and think about it in the things that you buy outside of fitness. If you were to get an iPhone, you're not fully committed yet until you get the watch. Now all of a sudden you're an Apple person. You can't really shift away too much. You know, the first time you bought from Amazon, probably pretty scary, not like anything you've ever done. You're not fully committed until you get that box in the mail. Now you can't wait to order from Amazon. You do it twice, now you're an Amazon person. Same thing goes from Zappos. Same thing goes from if you buy something at your gym, a snack at the snack bar, next thing you know, you're buying multiple things there. So here's the great thing. The people that buy other things from you, not only are they more likely to stay with you, but the people that are the most likely to stay with you are the people that buy more from you. So that's a perfect monster that feeds itself of I get my highest paying members to stay with me longer. People are afraid to upsell because they feel like that's asking for too much. I don't want to eat them alive and just keep taking for everything they got. People like to buy. Think about the last time you walked out of a store with something in your bag. You may have been nervous, maybe something you didn't necessarily need, a jacket, an Apple Watch or whatever, and you were like, should I really get this? Should I really get this? Until the credit card swipes, and then you get the bag handed to you and you're walking out and you can't wait to put the watch on. All of a sudden, all that fear and anxiety went away because now it's yours, you own it. Same thing for this. This is an application, a software that allows people to achieve the goal that they signed up for faster and in a cool, unique way that maybe other places don't offer. And maybe it's an upsell in the beginning, they're not sure what they want, but once you get them to do it, this is an added value that they love, and they're gonna buy more from you after that as well, according to what studies say, and they'll stay longer. So not a bad thing to do. Tell me about nutrition for fitness studio owners, such as whether you own an Orange Theory, or a Pilates studio, or a yoga studio. You know, these are places that traditionally, they don't really get too involved in the nutrition. They kind of like just come on in, do your thing, enjoy, leave. But they're the ones that have the highest retention problems. It's kind of like, it feels like a fad. I join yoga for a month or two and then I'm out. So give me an example as to how nutrition could help these studios, how they can integrate it.
Well, great question. And to go back to the rebuild of our platform, questions like that are what drove this, right? So in the past, we were a platform that worked really well for professionals that were going to be doing detailed meal plans for clients, right? And if we talk about a studio setting, we know that carves down to a small percent. 100% of the people that come through your door, only X% are going to penetrate into additional services, let's say personal training or one-on-one private lessons. And then there's going to be a percentage of those that are going to ask for additional services like meal planning. So we're serving that small slice really, really well. What we weren't serving was the much bigger slice, right? So this new platform is everybody in your studio gets their own client account. And by doing that, you give them access to your platform branded as you, and now they can go in and do that food logging that we talked about that was so important. We actually give them a personal plan that is generated from our algorithms and our system to give them customized recommendations. So when they're logging, they're seeing the impacts of what they're eating. They're guided through healthy choices as they go forward. And then that that exhaustion period we talked about why I stopped using the dumbbells in my garage and go get a personal trainer, it happens in a studio as well, right? At some point, I'm going to say, this is fine. I want to work with a professional at a higher level, right? So now, even in the app itself, we have a call to action: connect with a personal trainer, or ask for a professional, or get a custom plan. So not only are you providing value for everybody in your gym, but it becomes a retention, not only a retention tool, but becomes a lead gen tool for you as well. So instead of that thin slice of the people coming through the door that are getting nutrition support, it's now everybody. So everybody can opt into their own account, get nutrition guidance. They have the ability to connect with professionals when they need higher services. And when we get back to that data point, right, if you have a penetration into your population of, let's say, 10%, get additional services, well, what would it mean if you got to 11 or 12%, right? Mm-hmm. And out of that 10%, if 50% of them buy additional services, what if that became 60, 70%? So we talk about results, retention, referral, and revenue. Those are the four drivers. We believe this tool supports that entire loop, right? Let's make sure they're getting results. By doing that, you're going to retain them. Research shows that if you have 4 or more touch points with a client over a 1 month period, they're 80% more likely to come back. Wow. With an application like ours, even when they're outside the building, they're having this branded interface. They're staying connected with your brand and your company. They're getting something of value. You're staying in touch with them. They're going to get results quicker because they're food logging, because they're doing meal planning, because they're getting nutrition guidance. And what we find out is if those things are happening, they're going to refer people to you. Mm-hmm. So we're all in business to be in business, right? We're all passionate about helping people. If we can do both of those things together, it should be the perfect marriage.
Right. And, sometimes there's that limiting belief, and there's going to be people that are listening that are going to say, I don't see my members doing this. I don't see the majority of my members doing this. Well, let's say you have 250 members, and you only get 10% of them to do it. Let's say you only get 10%, 25 to really play ball and be on board. That 25 group of people, those people are likely to stay with you longer, get results, and which means more opportunity for upsells and add-ons later on that you don't have to chase down the road. You don't see grocery stores saying, I don't know if everyone's going to buy gum. Maybe we shouldn't put it right by the cash register. No, we're going to put it there anyway because a small portion will. And that portion is very important to our bottom line over the course of a year, over the course of 5 years, because it does make a real big difference. And so don't worry about finding something that everybody wants. Find stuff that you truly believe that if everybody used would provide great value, but maybe only a few people use, hey, let them do it. It's a great, that's all you can really do in business. You're never going to create the perfect product. Not every Apple lover loves a watch, but the people that do love the watch are really happy that they got it, and it creates the likelihood of them continuing to buy more stuff from you and stay a member for longer.
It's a great analogy, and those are great examples. And we always say that at its simplest form, if you believe that nutrition's important, you need to address it in some way, mm-hmm. right? Be it with us or somebody else. If you're not addressing it, you just simply can't be a complete solution. So if people opt out, that's fine. But to be able to present them with a viable, healthy, reasonable option, we believe that we provide a very simple solution to that. But again, if it's not us, it needs to be somebody. You need to be addressing nutrition.
Right. And in the last, or a few episodes ago, we had Mike McAllowitz on. He talked about birds of a feather flock together. Well, let's say you only get 25 or 30 people to actually use it effectively the right way. Well, who are they hanging out with? And are those people impressed by the opportunity to use this type of a system versus their gym where they just kind of have to wing it or write it down in a notepad or somewhere like in a random app in their phone? So just provide these opportunities. I'm telling you guys, this system works. There's a reason Ed's on. There's a reason Evolution Nutrition is on. It's because I believe strongly that a software like this, whether it's this one or like Ed said, something like this one, this is what's going to help you deliver more value, create more revenue, and be able to work less and be able to still get great results as a business owner in regards at the end of the year. I mean, you don't need to keep a ton more people to have a significant difference in your bottom line. Ed, last thing before we head out of here, you're obviously a very seasoned guy. and you said you've made every mistake in the book. Speaking of books, okay, if you had to recommend a book for a person that's running a fitness studio, and it doesn't have to be a fitness book necessarily, but just maybe it covers a challenge that you think the average person has, what would be a book or an influencer that people should really follow or read in order to become better in this industry?
I'm going to recommend that probably everybody's heard of, because at some point someone's either told us about it or we've read it and forgot it and reread it. But Good to Great is just an incredibly simple business book. Mm-hmm. And it talks about that hedgehog principle, which is make sure you're passionate about something, make sure you're really good at it, and make sure you can do it. And I circle back to that time and time again, right? So if we're in the fitness space and the next guy that comes in with supplements, because everyone's going to get ripped and yoked off it, and it's the 9th supplement that's up on my shelf and I've already got a laminated 50% off marker on it, is it something I should be chasing? Or should I really go after what I'm really good at and I know I can do really well for my clients? And my advice has been, looking back on every mistake I've made, I probably could have skipped a lot of those by staying focused on just those things. What was I passionate about? What was I good at? What could I actually get done?
Right. And guys, Good to Great is probably one of my favorite books. And the first line in the book, I think it's like the first line, it says, good is the enemy of great. Is that kind of how it kicks off, I think?
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
And it's pretty much true. A lot of people never become great because good is just too good. It feels comfortable. I don't want to lose it. And why risk being great? It may not even be a for sure thing, and I might lose good. Take those chances because you're going to die anyway, right? So might as well just go ahead and shoot for great. Good will always be ready for you with open arms. Average is always right there waiting. It's never unavailable. So great book. Definitely I love that you recommended that book, and I recommend every one of you reads it as well. Thank you very much, Ed, for taking the time out of your day, and I appreciate all the content.
Thanks so much for having me on, Mike.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for listening, for watching, and we will see you next week. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you like this episode, then subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, and to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. You can get all the links by going to thegsdshow.com. Thanks, and see you next time.